How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew. All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for the toys, and then, oh, the noise, the noise, the noise, the noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, noise, noise. Then the Who's young and old would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding, a rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. For every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? And then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer, the Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there were none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn to the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some empty old sacks on a ramshackle sleigh and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, get up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fists. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out, the fireplace flew. Where the little Who stockings all hung in a row, these stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant, around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorns, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimbley. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast He took the Who pudding and he took the roast beef, and he cleaned out the ice box as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee, and now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove. When he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove, he turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by his tiny Who daughter, who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Hero dirt indeed. Hero dirt indeed. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 15:15 dawn, all the Who's still abed, and the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, their ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsels, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Whew. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He started down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came, somehow or other. It came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzled and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without rhythms. It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beef. The end. Merry Christmas, everybody. That is the English session of this live stream, and momentarily we're gonna jump in the Spanish version. Here we go. You ready? ¿Cuánto de noche bueno? Buena. Sí. Sí. Era noche bueno y en la casa entera nada se movía, ni un ratón se fuera de la, de la chimenea. Las medias colgaban. La pronto llega de Santa Esteban. En sus bellas camas, los niños dormían sonando. con dulces que los dicen. Mami con Sofía. Yo con mi gorro e punto y ya estábamos del sueño modaro. You guys catch that? Good. Bien. Bueno. Escuché de pronto un altabrella, salté de la cama e okay. You guys get the point. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. How you guys doing? It's a very Calirado Christmas, and tonight we're sitting by the fire. And I won't lie, if I'm not sweating, pretty hefty right about now. That's a hearty fire, and I did chop the wood myself, as you can tell by this shirt. Hopefully you guys are ready for Christmas. Good luck. We're all counting on you. Thanks for joining me. And I think that's it, unless you guys want me to read some more stories. Hours of preparation for a 5-minute joke. That should be the tag of this channel. Hands down. More stories, you say? Mommy, do we have any more stories to read? We're gonna find another story. Don't you worry. Tell your friends. How's everybody feeling? Christmas Eve going good for you guys? Make one up? I could make a mountain biking story up. You know I could. There once was a YouTuber by the name of Bike Sum who rode like a legend through the town of someone. He could do wheelies and manuals too, but one day it was time to upload his video to YouTube. And then the trouble started. For you see, boys and girls, Bike Sum's a legend in all of the world. His manuals are great. He can fly through the sky. And his videos are stunning, just like the guy. There you go. That's what I got. I dedicate that to you, Bike Sum. Oh boy, oh boy. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. We're currently hunting down one more story for you. Fireplace is going. I feel like I should add another log. It's not nearly hot enough. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. One more for you. Hey, Kyle, what's up, buddy? How you doing? I don't see the Crashing Dad doing a Christmas Eve live stream, do you? Huh? I didn't think so. Yes. Hey-oh. The Christmas assistant handed me off a book. Here we go. Strap yourselves in. Merry Christmas, everybody. The Christmas story. A long time ago, an angel visited a young woman called Mary. The angel's name was Gabriel, and he shone like the sun. Don't be afraid, said Gabriel. I have a message for you. Soon you will have a special baby boy. He'll be the Son of God, and you'll call him Jesus. Is that Jesus? It's not Jesus. Okay, Jesus. Soon after the angel's visit, Mary found that she was going to have a baby. When it was almost time for the baby to be born, Mary and Joseph traveled to Bethlehem. It was a very long, long way when they reached Bethlehem, and they needed a place to sleep. Bethlehem was very crowded, and all the inns were full. And one innkeeper felt sorry for Mary and Joseph. He offered them a warm stable to sleep in for the night. It's a lot like how my wife and I met. Jesus was born in the stable. It's cut off from a pop-up. There's a pop-up in this book, and it's stuck together, and I couldn't imagine why. That night, Jesus was born in the stable. A very bright star shone in the sky above. Far away from Bethlehem, 3 wise men saw the star. The new king is born, they cried. The wise men traveled to see baby Jesus. They used the star to guide them. In fields near Bethlehem, an angel appeared in a bright light. It frightened the shepherds who were caring for their sheep. Don't be afraid, said the angel. The Son of God has now been born. You will find him wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. Manger. Not a manager. Okay. What's a manger? Is that like a hay?
A
Oh, okay. At the stable, the shepherds and the 3 wise men celebrated the birth of baby Jesus. The 3 wise men brought him precious gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Mary and Joseph were very happy. Everyone was filled with joy and hope. This was a very special night, you see. The end. The alphabet. Well, thanks for jumping in, everybody. Hope your Christmas Eve is going well. And as you can see, I have a real fire going, which is pretty impressive. What do you call an obnoxious reindeer? Give it to me, Kyle. What do you call it? I need to know. Rude off. Hi-oh! Yes! Yes! You know, I was going to say that. You know, Tim, that's a great question. Whenever I go to the smoke shop, I always just tell them, give me what you recommend. I am not an aficionado in any way, shape, or form, but I just say, give me the blend that you think I would enjoy. And I do that when I go to restaurants too. Here's something you're gonna learn about me. I dislike picking and choosing things. What I would like is, if I go to a sandwich place, this is getting off topic, it's not Christmas related, but if I go to a sandwich place, I don't wanna make my own sandwich. I want them to make it for me and pick one, and I'm just gonna pick it off a menu, all right? I don't like all these choices. That's why Chipotle drives me crazy, all right? Just throw it all in there and let me eat my food. Merry Christmas, everybody. That's kind of off the topic of yeah. Yes, I'm gonna go eat some cookies and some milk mixed with some fine bourbon. Look at that mustache. Incredible. All right, thus concludes the Calirado Kids' very Merry Christmas. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you on the next ridiculous live stream.